Ok. Allora. Direi di andare direttamente alla missione. Senza tante mappa. I tizi dell'evento li facciamo sempre. Donna sotto, però qua c'è il boss. Buongiorno a tutti. Dov'è il coglionasso? Cosa mi ha dato? Life Energy. Beh, aspetta un attimo. Questo è ok, vabbè, si fa dall'altra parte, insomma, ho capito. Mana, heat, fire, poisonous. Vabbè, mi interessa questo, lo vedere. Dove cacchio sta? Vabbè, ho capito. Dopo. Ci sono alcuni orb che ancora devo capire come si utilizzano. Probabilmente ci sblocca qualcosa più avanti. Dove è la strada? Giù. Dai che 100%. Raccoglite dietro Osvaldo, la roba. Che va. Basta quanto ne lancia mo. Raccoglie roba Osvaldo, bravo. Tiè. Non si via neanche. Dai. Bell'Antò. Sì, infatti, in effetti sì, è un coglionazzo da un quadrato. Vabbè, penso io morire per te. C'è il portale là sotto. Adesso passiamo prima a questo e vediamo se apri il portale. Apri il portale. No, niente portale. Crystal Orb. Con Crystal Orb ci puoi giocare, Crystal Orb. Entrammo. Dov'è il primo? Sotto. Tutta una questione di aprire quei portali. Mira giù, mira giù. Non ho mai capito bene questi. Se mi sta da qualcosa. Boh. Dov'è Osvaldo? Ah, eccolo Osvaldo, non lo vedevo più. Bella fontanella. Adesso devo riportare su anche le resistenze perché sono uscite drasticamente e non ho capito perché. Probabilmente un po' alla Path of Exile quando fai certe robe te le scala. Più o meno. Allora il tizio che chiacchiera non ci interessa. Ma non era domani? Manutenzione. C'era un annuncio prima, ma diceva domani. E intanto per non sapere di scrivere apriamo sta roba qua. Piove. Dai. Sì, in 10 minuti. Che sfiga. Tanto che riesco un attimino. Andiamo avanti finché si riesce. Fighella. Piove. Mazza quante ne lancio. Mazza. Voglio tutto Osvaldo. Non vale. Mancava qualcosa. Waypoint. Mazza quante ne lancio. Quelli qua dietro Osvaldo. Congelato. andate via che c'è la manutenzione. Porca miseria. Dai Osva, raccogli tutto, bravo Osvaldo. Stum. C'è dei moscatori il furbacchione, la puzza di velocità, più o meno. Ma poi deve saltare tutto, tanto c'è la manutenzione. Si vede che domani è un aggiornamento, oggi c'è manutenzione. Non lo sapevo. Ancora mi devo abituare a quei vari eventi. Osvaldo. Vado a raccogliere la roba. In 5 minuti. Hai capito? Mannaggia te, mannaggia. Vediamo se riusciamo a fare il boss. Se no mi spacca il 4. Gigiua! No! Non ci potrai fermare il mio miele! Grisa. Va bene, dai. Vediamo se riusciamo ad arrivare sul posto, ma... in 5 minuti. E noi ce la giochiamo in 5 minuti. Che devo fare? Adesso devo portare questa vela. No, sono contento che non me l'abbia dato perché non facevo in tempo. C'è waypoint. Primo waypoint. Non c'è il tizio qua, vabbè. Che cazzo si fa con la testa? Sei prurito? Oh, tanto non facciamo in tempo. quanto vale andare in città, ho capito. Thank you. Villa Marina. Roba de mare. Un minuto, ma intendo te. Questo ce li guardiamo dopo. Interessante questa. Ok, Undecember. Perfetto. In a moment. Dark Mode mi capita manutenzione. Bella Simo. Ciao caro. Begato giorno di manutenzione, porca miseria. Non sapevo, cioè ho letto prima di lanciare il gioco che c'era scritto domani, che c'è aggiornamento, bla bla. Però si vede che oggi è il giorno di manutenzione, evidentemente nel gioco. Non mi è capitato, anche perché sotto a st'ora non ci sto giocando. Però non ho capito. Dov'è? Consigliava di entrare in città, in teoria doveva partire, quindi in teoria dovrebbe chiudersi il gioco. Boh. Ah, eccolo, vedi? Ok. Ah, ma era solo così, momentaneo? Fammi capire. Vedere un po', che dice. Via componente permanente this land is complete. 12 ore. Madonna. Madonna. Yeah. Beh, anti-fake? Madonna, cazzo. Time lives on this maintenance complete. 12 ore 28 minuti. Check notice. Certo. Sì? Beh. Se mi fai salire... Perché non mi fai andare su? Oh. Vada su. No. Ah, i cookie. Vabbè, ho capito. Solo che 12 ore sono tante. Madonna. Ma davvero che cazzo devono fare? Cioè, la rivoluzione. 12 ore sono tante. Ma poi, cioè... Allora, oggi è il 6, no? Domani è il 7, c'è proprio aggiornamento, un altro aggiornamento, insomma. Infatti lo segnalo per domani. E... Ma 12 ore sono tante. Cazzo dovranno fare? Madonna. Cioè, neanche fosse una riunione per il Consiglio di Stato, cazzo. Vabbè. Aspetta. Vagabondo, vagabondo, guarda il biondo, guarda il biondo. Tutti su, vabbè. Porca puttana, non mi ricordo che mi è mai capitata una roba del genere. Ma magari di solito è di notte, ste robe così, no? Ma vabbè, close. Bella Simo. Na 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 na. Addirittura grande Simo, grazie. Grandissimo, carissimo. Per il supporto, grazie. Vediamo un attimino a sto punto. Ok, se da qui voglio uscire, no? Start, beh, mi dice sta roba qua, dice che ci sono 1467 ore. Ah, ok. Close, ma si voglio uscire. Ho capito. Faccio prima fare così. Ferma. Oh, nella lista. Dov'è? No. Lista dei desideri. Cosa c'è? Cosa ho messo? Allora. Diamo un'occhiata un attimino al trailer. E via gli zebedei. Mazza, sei cattivo. Ah. Grande Simo. Oh, parti? Ho messo una lista un po' dei giochi. Ricazzoioni. Fanno tutti da finale, insomma. Sì, ci sono, ma dovrei installare il gioco perché adesso per fare un attimo un po' di spazio l'ho disinstallato, ando giocandoci. Però più tardi sì, in parti entro. Mi avvisi quando ci siete e entro in party. Ah, beh, posto finito. Volevo vedere dov'è che c'è anche eh, questo qua. Volevo vedere se c'è qualche video. L'abbiamo visto.
The gods caused all this, you know. After Oriath was destroyed, I traveled, searching for answers. Everywhere I went, the same divine devastation. It must end. I will end it. And no exile will stop me.
Cioè, la schermata principale nel senso, cioè, dove devi loggare o tipo in città ti riporta? Perché ogni tanto capitava che praticamente crashava tutti, dungeon dove eri ti riportava in qualche città, però se ti riporta la schermata principale, non so se è proprio il solito problema di server che c'è nel gioco che stanno sistemando, che devono sistemare, o se in quel caso è il classico problema PlayStation, no? Che ti butta fuori, poi dipende se fai fatica a rientrare nel gioco. Come ti fa? Ah beh, devi loggare, ok, leggo adesso. Non so se è quello il problema di server o problema PlayStation. Però di solito, no, quando ti butta fuori, poi quando devi loggare dai problemi anche proprio per loggare di solito, no? Cioè dava questo qui su PlayStation. Quindi comunque sia, credo sia il problema di PlayStation. Se ti riporta la schermata iniziale. Allora è PlayStation. Cioè il PSN va a turni. Oggi rompo le balle a te, domani a quell'altro fa la roulette. È l'unica cosa che sei sfigato come me, solo a te. Per il resto però, visto anche le ultime immagini delle robe che hai trovato da vendere, quelle sono tutte le gufate, capito, nostre che ti mandiamo perché droppi tutto. Mio miele. Le boss fight si preannunciano toste. Cioè, se proprio qui nel 3 ce n'è una dove sei ristretto in una piccola area. E così è gratis. Volevo provare il druido quando esce il gioco, ufficiale prove, perché adesso al 6 c'è l'early access, poi man mano dopo un po' faranno anche l'ingresso totale, ma all'inizio è riservato, diciamo. Mazza.
This world will be reborn, no matter the cost.
Mi spiace per chi non ci giocherà per la mancanza di italiano, ma vediamo se c'è qualche altro. Eh sì, anch'io. Però come ho detto, il 6 dicembre c'è l'Early Access e poi da lì in poi piano piano andranno a rilasciare proprio la versione ufficiale totale un po'. Non so di preciso proprio quella totale dove possiamo giocare tutti quando è. Poi c'è una nuova statistica per riservare l'aura, lo spirito dovrebbe chiamarsi, quindi con quello che si riserveranno le varie aure eccetera, dovrebbe semplificare in
When we
teoria.
started to work on the Ranger, we knew we had to make a class with high agility. The dream of fast bow gameplay is Legolas, so that's what we wanted to deliver. The starting point is moving while shooting a bow.
Un'occhiata un po' di
Any
rovine,
kind of
così
basic
usiamo.
arrow skill can be fired while moving, with a movement penalty. This immediately gives you a lot more freedom on the battlefield. Here, I'm starting each battle with a poison burst arrow to poison groups of enemies, then using a lightning arrow
C'è anche
to
la
arc lightning
schivata.
around larger packs.
Quella
For
però non è
even
che ti
more
fa evitare i
mobility,
colpi
we
se
also
ci sei
have a
sopra,
variety of
vabbè.
skills that involve vaulting around the battlefield too.
Ma non c'ha
This
carica,
is Frost Escape.
la schivata si può
Using it jumps
usare
backwards and
continuamente.
shoots a freezing arrow at the ground. Really useful if monsters close on you and you need to get away. Once you've landed, if monsters were frozen, it'd be nice to have some way to take advantage of that extra
certo.
time. This is where Snipe comes in. Snipe is a skill shot that you need to charge up and release at exactly the right time. If you land the right timing, Snipe is guaranteed to produce a critical strike, and does a small AoE as well, so it's a great finisher. You can also move while shooting arrow rain skills too. This skill is Lightning Rod. It shoots an arrow into the air that sticks into the ground, and does a small AoE. Once the rods are in the ground though, they attract any arcs of lightning that are nearby, causing them to explode again. This means you can stack up a bunch of lightning rods on the ground, and bounce lightning between them, doing way more damage. Now this takes care of packs pretty well, but for bigger enemies I'd like to have something that's going to enhance my damage output too. This skill is Stormcaller Arrow. Using it sticks an arrow into an enemy. After a short period of time, a lightning bolt comes from the sky and strikes them. This has a high chance to shock them, and shocked enemies take 30% more damage from all sources. If something big walks along, it's a good idea to throw one of these at them first to enhance your damage, before following up with the other combo. Now if I really want to enhance this combo, there are a couple of things I could do using our support gem system. Skills in Path of Exile are granted by items called skill gems. Each skill gem has coloured sockets in it, and these sockets are for other items called support gems. Support gems modify your skills, and it's where a huge amount of the customization of your character comes.
Allora. Ok, beh, queste sono le skill standard, no? E qua tutte le varie support che man mano che penso che si avanzi in qualche maniera, non so se dipenderà dall'equipaggiamento, ma non mi sa che l'equipaggiamento non è più proprio direttamente negli equip, cioè insomma un po' diverso mi pare, e man mano si aggiungono per dare degli effetti extra un po' alla Path of Exile 1.
First I'm going to take this multiple projectile.
Ok, ha la stessa support dall'altra parte, projectile, additional projectile.
Support gem. I could add it to my lightning arrow, and it would fire multiple arrows. This would increase the number of targets I can hit, but that isn't the effect that I'm after. If I add it to my lightning rod skill instead, then when
Bella
I
Simo,
fire, I
grazie.
get a nice
Ciao,
group of
bello.
rods. This means that I don't have to spend as much time setting up before I can use it with my lightning arrow combo. I might also add faster projectiles to make the lightning rods land faster too. Now next up I'm going to grab this chain support gem. Chaining causes many effects to repeat on new targets when you hit them. If I add it to my lightning arrow, it will cause the arcs that come out of lightning
Fatemi
arrow to
sapere
strike
quando
even more
attivate il
targets,
party, che era
rippling
prima.
along my line of lightning rods for huge amounts of damage. Now I think we can use support gems to improve Stormcaller Arrow as well. Let's start simple. I'm going to chuck less duration on here. This will cause the lightning from the sky to strike a bit faster. Next up we have a support called Shock Proliferation. This support makes it so that any enemies shocked by the skill will also have the shock jump to nearby enemies, meaning they'll take the extra damage as well. It's just a chance to proc, so it's not going to proc on every single pack, but when it does, a pack will go down ultra quick. Another useful empowering skill is Barrage. Barrage is one of the rare cooldown skills in PoE 2. It enhances whatever your next attack is to fire 3 times. With what we have here, I think it might be a good idea to use it with Lightning Arrow. It'll generate 3 times as many lightning explosions. You could also use it at just the right moment with Snipe, or any number of other skills depending on what effect you need more of right now. It's very versatile and can be used in a range of situations.
Stava fine del castagno.
Now, even as mobile as the Ranger is, it's still very useful to slow monsters down, and a Ranger certainly has quite a few tools to do this. If you're prepared to get up close and personal, we have a skill called Electrocuting Rod. First, jump over the enemy and shoot it into them. Once the rod's in place, any lightning damage they take will build up a special electrocute gauge. Once the gauge is full, the monster is totally suppressed, allowing you to kill them easily. Now sometimes when you use Electrocuting Rod, the enemy dies before you get a chance to electrocute them. I think there's another support gem I could add to my Lightning Arrow to fix this problem. Neural Overload will make it easier to electrocute enemies. If the skill it's attached to puts them over 50% of their electrocute bar, it will trigger instantly. Now this skill works really well for suppressing a single large enemy, but I'd like to improve my crowd control ability for groups as well. I'm going to add a support gem called Frozen Nexus to my Frost Escape. This makes an area of chilled ground around frozen enemies. I'll also add Deep Freeze to it as well, which will make the freezes last a bit longer. Now when I use my Frost Escape on that front enemy, others nearby are slowed down. It would also be good if I had a way to slow enemies down when they're farther away from me as well. So this would be a great time to start getting into the Ranger's poison and plant-based skill set. To start with, let's have a look at Vine Arrow. This skill fires an arrow into the air that creates a small plant where it lands. The plant sends out tendrils to nearby enemies, slowing them down and poisoning them. But it does have another function too. If the plant gets further poisoned, it transfers that poison to the monsters it's attached to. Normally you would only be able to get 1 stack of poison on a monster at a time, but you can put as much poison as you want on this plant. You could just use the plant to slow monsters down and not worry about the poison part, but if you want to go all in on poison, this is the way to do it. Now if you do want to focus on poisons more, another useful skill is Poison Bloom Arrow. This skill creates these plant pustules on the ground. If you wait a little while, they'll explode. Just like any other plant skill, these plants respond well to poison. Shoot the Poison Burst arrow at enemies nearby and watch your plants grow more and more powerful. Poisoning the pustules causes them to do much more damage and makes them explode much faster as well. I can also add the Pierce support to Poison Burst arrow. Doing this will mean I get multiple poison bursts as it goes through each monster. We also have another skill to make a nice environment for your plants to grow. Gas Cloud Arrow. This skill shoots the ground and creates a cloud of gas that continuously poisons things inside it. Throw your plants down, then put a gas cloud on top. The constant poisoning will make them grow. Another poison-related skill we have on the Ranger is called Plague Bearer. This is a reservation skill, meaning it uses spirit. When I enable it, I get this counter that counts up whenever I apply poison to a monster. You can see the counter on the skill increasing as each new monster is poisoned. Now I'm going to fight these monsters and make sure to poison them as much as I can to build up the counter.
Massa e pozza. Eh sì, è scattata la manutenzione su Undecember.
It does take quite a while to get the counter up to 100%.
Qualcosa
but
su
it's
Path of
worth it.
Exile 2.
Whenever I choose, I can unleash the poison in a big explosion around my character, dealing a large amount of damage. Now next up we have a classic, Rain of Arrows. It's simple. Shoot a bunch of arrows in the sky and they rain down for a short time. It's decent AoE and damage at long range. Now this skill doesn't last too long, but we can change that. It's time to introduce Frenzy Charges. Frenzy Charges are used for a variety of skills on the Ranger, but with Rain of Arrows they can be used to extend the duration.
You're mine.
How do we get some though? Here we have a skill called Sniper's Mark. Put it on an enemy and it will grant you a Frenzy Charge when you crit them. Now remember that snipe skill from earlier? That skill guarantees a critical hit. So first we Sniper's Marked an enemy, then we sniped them. And after that, the next Rain of Arrows will last a really, really long time. We still have some weaknesses though. While Rain of Arrows hits enemies with a ton of arrows, each one doesn't do much damage individually. It would be nice if we had a way to break the armor on enemies so that Rain of Arrows dealt more damage. Thankfully, we have this Corrode Armor support gem, and we can put it on our Gas Cloud arrow. Corrode Armor causes poison to erode the armor on targets until it's all gone. This will significantly increase the damage that Rain of Arrows does against armored targets. Oh yeah, and one more thing about gas clouds. They can be detonated with explosions. I have an explosive arrow here. Let's check it out. Now, because monsters and gas clouds are likely to have their armor broken, I think there's another useful combo we can do. This is an exploit weakness support. This support provides extra bonus damage to targets that have their armor broken. Perfect for what we have going on here. So, those are just some of the skills we have on the Ranger class in Path of Exile 2. Now that we've seen all these skills, let's see how well they do against a much tougher enemy. It's time to fight the boss of the temples, Thanos.
Kitava's cursed madness never ends! Glorious radiance! Chaotic power! Exalted are the worthy! Behold! True power! Glorious radiance! Exalted are the worthy! Chaotic power! Chaotic power!
Attacco di per forza.
Exalted are the worthy! True power! Exalted are the worthy! Blazing devotion!
Sarebbe.
Exalted are the worthy! Gloria! I have found your next!
Però
Heal swiftly and move on. This is how you survive.
That's the Ranger. But oh yeah, there was one more thing. The mount. Check this out.
Ah, le mount.
Yes, you can ride a rower. While
Bastano
riding the
con te
rower,
e
you can
ci
shoot
vedi giù.
arrows with no movement penalty. It's pretty overpowered. You can also use your vaulting skills to jump right off the rower's back. Once the rower doesn't have a rider, it starts attacking monsters, so he's nice to have around, even if you're not riding him. That said, if you are riding, don't get hit. If you take a heavy stun while on a rower, you'll fall off, and it takes a while to get up, so be careful. So that's what we wanted to show you today. Now there is just one more rather unfortunate bit of news. Path of Exile 2's beta is going to be delayed. We previously said that we would get the beta out on June 7th, and while I think we would be able to get the game's content ready in time, we underestimated how long it would take to get gameplay polished to a standard that we're happy with. We're still going to be doing alpha testing in June, but we're going to be delaying the beta until later in the year. I don't have an exact date for you today, but it should be towards the end of the
Sta
year.
traslocare
In
questo.
the meantime, you can still play Path of Exile 1, of course.
There's not a job out there I won't take. So long as the
Mercenario.
pay's good and a crossbow can solve it.
Ui.
I'll take 'em all down, one bolt at a time.
When thinking about each new class, we really try to think about how we can make combat feel different from all the others. For the mercenary, that difference is the crossbow. A crossbow is fundamentally different than a regular bow because it fires instantly instead of needing to be drawn back. This means that you need immediate feedback. Clicking the fire button should make the character shoot instantly, just like in a shooter. As soon as we experienced that, we realized that there are a lot of design lessons to learn from shooters, and so we fully embraced them. In Path of Exile 2, we have crossbows that work like sniper rifles, shotguns, and assault rifles.
Ok. Ci sono delle armi che hanno già delle abilità un po' come se avessero già
But in
una...
order to really get shooter-like
skill
gameplay,
gem
we
dentro,
wanted to go
quello.
further. In Path of Exile 2, we now support WASD movement. You can now walk around in any direction independent of aiming. In fact, if this is your preferred method of gameplay, you can use it on any class, regardless of what weapon type you're using. You can change between click to move or WASD at any time. You can only hold 2 crossbows at a time, but Path of Exile 2 is all about interesting combinations of abilities, and this is where ammo skills come in. This is a burst shot crossbow, and right now I have armor piercing ammo equipped, which makes it very effective when facing a group of enemies, since it pierces right through them.
Bloody Horus!
But there are other ammos too. For a bigger single target, it might be a good idea to switch to incendiary. The more projectiles hit the target, the stronger the ignite, so you'll want to get up nice, close and personal with this one. If you have a bunch of targets running at you, you might want to slow them down. In this case, you could switch to permafrost burst shot. Shooting a bunch of smaller enemies at range will chill them, and potentially even freeze them in place. Once you have some frozen enemies though, you can switch back to armor piercing. Shooting a frozen enemy with armor piercing burst shot will explode the ice, doing a huge amount of damage to all nearby enemies. Another feature crossbows have is attachments. This is a grenade launcher. As you can see, when I equip it, it appears on the underside of the crossbow. These attachments are just like skill gems, so you effectively get extra skill slots, and you can augment these with support gems, just like regular skills.
Fire in the hole!
These grenades take a while to explode, so it's a good idea to pair them with some kind of crowd control, like permafrost burst shot.
Possono craftare?
We have other grenades too though. This attachment is a flash grenade. It does barely any damage, but it does a huge amount of stun. It can be a great opener before you run into combat.
Questi stunnano.
Surprise!
Now, here's another attachment, an oil grenade. Firing one of these grenades coats the ground and nearby enemies in oil. Oil slows enemies down, so it's another useful crowd control mechanic. Now, another thing that oil can do is be set on fire. Any burning enemy or explosion will ignite the oil, causing extra burning damage.
Quindi quelli sfruttano.
One of the problems with burst shot crossbows is that each pellet doesn't do much damage individually.
Okay.
This means that if enemies have armor, then it will be very effective preventing that damage. But thankfully, you can equip an additional crossbow in your second weapon set to deal with the weaknesses of your primary weapon. This is a rapid shot crossbow. Rapid shot is great for closing on enemies because you can shoot while running.
Puoi uccidere una
In Path of Exile 2, we
tranquillamente.
now have the ability to allow you to use some skills while moving. Being able to create skills like this opens up a lot of new design space and allows us to really increase the pace of combat. The armor-piercing version of Rapid Shot slowly erodes a monster's armor. Once the armor is fully broken, you can easily switch back to Burst Shot to deal much more damage. Being able to run while shooting with Rapid Shot is also great for when you want to perform a fighting retreat.
Reload!
Using permafrost ammo with Rapid Shot is also useful if you need to retreat. When you shoot the ground, it creates ice crystals. If you draw monsters back over these crystals, they explode, chilling the monsters. It's great if you want to set up a safe zone before pulling the next pack. Slowing enemies down can come in handy if you want to use the incendiary version of Rapid Shot. Using this skill requires that you charge up a little bit before it fires, but as it continues to heat up, it will do more and more damage. It has a really large clip size, so you can just keep firing and firing with it. But the other really useful feature is that when the crossbow is heated up, it adds extra fire damage to any grenade that you launch. Now I've been using explosive grenades here, but it will work equally as well with flash or oil grenades too. If you use it with oil grenades, the oil will catch fire immediately.
Manutenzione su Undecember,
Another
quindi
crossbow type
diamo
that you can
un'occhiata a
find
qualche
is Power
video
Shot.
su Path of Exile 2.
This one works just like a classic sniper rifle. Use it with armor-piercing ammo and it will penetrate armor on targets. So it's a good idea to use when something's really tough.
Back down or die!
Now this skill has another interesting interaction with armor break. If an enemy has its armor broken, then your Power Shot hits a weak spot and does a huge amount of single target damage, with a bunch of extra stun for good measure.
Bullseye!
Now, the incendiary version of Power Shot is more like a rocket launcher. It does a big explosive blast at a distance. One of the really useful features of this version is that you can explode any grenades that happen to be on the ground. This combo also works really well with Incendiary Rapid Shot. I'm going to charge up the heat on my crossbow, shoot out a bunch of grenades, and then start the fireworks with a Power Shot. Welcome to Path of Exile 2. We'd like to start off by showing some of the gameplay of Act 3, one of the 6 acts in PoE
Al Monaco, va.
2's campaign. We're starting here in the jungle depths. Act 3 is set in the ruins of the Vaal civilization which fell thousands of years ago. Jungle has taken over their former once great cities, and we'll be exploring it using one of our 6 new character classes called the Monk. In PoE 1, we had 1 character class for each of the combinations of strength, dexterity, and intelligence. When looking at the design of PoE 2 though, we realized that many of the new skills we were trying to design just didn't really fit thematically with the existing classes that we have. Being a spellcaster with a bear form makes sense for strength int, but it doesn't really sound like something a Templar would do. We realized that since we had new mechanics for every attribute combination, it actually made sense to design new character classes to explore the new themes. In PoE 2, every attribute combination has 2 classes associated with it. Strength int has the Templar or the Druid. On dexterity you have the Ranger or the more spear-focused Huntress. And on dex int you have the Shadow and the Monk, which Mark is playing here. The quest rewards you're offered on the 2
c'è un attimo
variants of the
manutenzione
class.
su...
But of course, this is
un
PoE.
attimo, 12
You
ore
can still
su
mix and match
Undecember,
anything to your heart's
scattata poco
content,
fa,
and they both start
e
in the same
allora guardiamo
location on
qualche
the
video
map.
su Path of Exile 2.
The most important difference between the two is the ascendancy classes. Each class's own 3 ascendancies that let you further specialize the class in a way that only that class has access to. Looks like we've come across the boss for this area. In PoE 2, every area of the campaign contains a boss of at least this difficulty. That's over 100 bosses to fight as you make your way through the campaign, and they all have unique mechanics to learn. As you've seen from watching Mark fighting, the melee combat in PoE 2 has a very different feel than before. We've done a lot of things to add mobility to combat. Practically every melee skill in PoE 2 is some kind of
Facciamo
movement.
un attimo una roba, eh. Facciamo così. Allora, ok, non vale la pena adesso stare a girare tutto allora.
The monk in particular is a melee fighter who specializes in mobility over brute strength.
Senza prendere e interrompere. Adesso c'è la manutenzione su Undecember. Diceva domani, ma è scattata una 12 ore. E senza stare a chiudere la riattivare un'altra volta. Magari chi entra avviso. Che la gente entra in live e avviso che perché stiamo guardando i video su Path of Exile 2, che c'è il titolo di Undecember.
Whenever an enemy has a blue indicator over it, it means the monster has low enough life to cull with Killing Palm. Using Killing Palm on an enemy will cull it, giving you a power charge. This is an important skill for the monk since many of his skills interact with power charges. One of the great things about the skill is it has a built-in dash forward, which makes it much easier to target the skill right at the point where you need it. We've done a lot of work in PoE 2 to make using skills like this feel satisfying. If you're accidentally targeting slightly off a monster, the skill will automatically lock on to a cullable target, and will even do a small amount of pathfinding around obstacles. You really want to make sure that when an opportunity to use the skill presents itself, nothing is going to get in your way. Once you've got some power charges, you need some skills to power up. A great follow-up is Falling Thunder. Falling Thunder without a power charge just creates a relatively small lightning AoE in front of you.
Interrompiamo e startiamo con una live dedicata a Path of Exile 2. Tanto c'è la manutenzione su Undecember, così almeno la gente non vede quel titolo per quel gioco e non perde tempo. Intanto vi ringrazio, grazie Simo per l'abbonamento e ci vediamo tra breve. A tra poco.